Thank you so much for joining. First of all, a big warm welcome to everyone to our Humanizing Talk. We are very pleased to see everyone joining, and we are also very happy to see men and women joining our talk, which means it's really something that is gaining more and more attention. Thank you for having also the curiosity to spend the next 40 minutes with us. We're super excited to have this moment with you. We are In It Motion, business humanizers, and we believe in more meaningful growth. Today, we want to call ourselves business feminizers because it goes so hand in hand with the topic we will be sharing. And this is the three of us, and I will let all of us share a small personal line to introduce ourselves. So my name is Aurelia, and my feminine identity is the explorer. I am personally very inspired by the conversation, by the topic we're going to have today, because I was born in the Soviet Union, which is a system that is perceived as quite rigid in terms of cultural norms, in terms of leadership norms. And I grew to be inspired by different types of leadership stories based on empathy, based on kindness. And this is what we want to share further with you today. And I pass the virtual microphone to Rachel.
Thank you, Aurelia. I'm Rachel Go. I live in Singapore, which is why it's so dark now. And I'm here because I grew up in an environment where I heard over and over again that, you know, girls are weak, they're not as strong as boys, women are emotional, that's why they cry so much. That's why they can't run countries or companies. And of course, what did that make me do? It made me turn my whole life into pretty much a personal mission to prove all those statements wrong, to say that I can go as far as I want and I can definitely do it my feminine way. And my feminine identity is the creator. Passing the microphone over to Sila in Bali.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good morning. We just heard that there's someone from Brazil and also Europe, of course. Good afternoon. So I'm Sila. My feminine identity that was chosen by Aurelia for me is seducer. And the reason why I'm attracted very much into the feminine values and identity, because very similar to Aurelia and Rachel, with their background growing up in a traditional, system and country in Indonesia. Actually, I was known to make very unpopular decisions. So my decision seemed to be, quite challenging the norms here, and I felt not represented. And that's why I'm always very drawn to feminine values in business and in other areas. I'm also raising a girl. She's now 14 years old, and I'm imagining a better world where it's more positive and where feminine values are better embraced. So we can imagine, people that are more caring, that use empathy with each other, listen to each other a bit more, and more genuine world.
So our entire team, including our male colleagues, have played this game and found their personal feminine identity, because we all have a personal feminine identity to us. And whether you are a man or a woman, we also invite you to find your own personal identity, which we share the link to the game Beyond the Power Girl, and you are more than welcome to play after the session. So let us go ahead. Why are we doing this business humanizing talk in the first place? Because we believe in the wake of this global pandemic, we need to build a world that is more inclusive, collaborative, and less hostile. And in fact, this is already happening because society and people are reshaping it towards a new normal. We see lots of posts, lots of articles around the need to build a world that has more of these norms. For this reason, we are currently conducting a series of humanizing talks in which we want really to inspire you as brands, organizations, but also as individuals, to embark on this shift society is undergoing and to continue to build the relevance, most importantly for and with the people that you serve and you have around you, and to participate in creating a better future for the next generation. Today we will share with you how we can do that by embedding more feminine values in what we are doing. So we will talk about why the world needs more feminine values, what are stronger feminine identities, how we can develop them, and we will have a shared moment of conversation. So at Innate Motion, we strongly believe that in the current context of shaping a new normal feminine, in shaping new normal feminine values, it's instrumental to enable change, and it has been proven so that it brings progress to communities, that it helps achieve better livelihoods, that it enables people to become better leaders. And we want to share it with you in the hope that as brands, you may use it to grow your relevance, but also your impact. And I'm sure some of you are going to ask now, why are we even talking as values that can be seen feminine or masculine? Is it not that they are gender neutral? Is it not even a bit sexist to claim nowadays that they can be feminine or masculine? Well, the truth is that people do intrinsically view values in a certain way. So a study that has been conducted in 16 countries, where people were given a set of 125 behavioral traits, have classified them into masculine and feminine the way you can see on the screen, some of them. It's an example of the result. More than that, they were also asked to rank the top 10 competencies they desire in an ideal leader. And the values that you see highlighted in yellow are those that were picked by people as the ideal competencies for leadership. So the beauty of these feminine values is that they can be found and they are also lived by both men and women. So actually, when we talk more feminine values, it doesn't mean that we want to cancel the masculine values. It just means that we believe it is worth to strive for more balance, because we have seen that it can bring positive impact and that people strive for this positive impact. Also, it's not just us who believe that. There is 2/3 of the people, including the majority of men, who feel the world will be a better place if men thought more like women. And this is a study that was conducted in the aftermath of the 2008 economic crisis, which is very much relevant for the times we are living in now, because it is in a way an after the crisis aftermath. This view was shared regardless of age, income, or nation. So universally, it seemed that people had grown frustrated by a world that was dominated by codes that they saw traditionally as more masculine. And they believed that feminine values can bring healing and change. And if you think about it, this is exactly what societies demand now, to build a future that is more healing and brings better change. Not only people, also businesses that have embedded a culture based on more feminine values have proven to have higher people engagement and also significant brand growth. And an example of this, a great example of this in our view, it's Ben & Jerry's, because by using empathy, they became relevant to what societies ask for. And as an organization, they managed to increase their base of followers and the relevance they bring to this world. However, even if proven positive, today these feminine values are still the exception and not the norm. And that is because embracing more of these feminine values takes a lot of courage. It takes courage to listen to people. It takes courage to live up to people's needs. Rather than impose our agenda or products or services, we really need to live up to what they ask for and to be brave to exist for the people that we serve. Now I'm going to pass the virtual microphone to Rachel, which is going to talk us further through the notion of feminine identities.
Thank you, Aurelia. So, values that people live by define the identities that they aspire towards. And as we have seen, especially in times of crisis, feminine values are increasingly needed by people. So when brands and businesses and organizations build feminine identities, what they're actually doing is also becoming more representative of the people they serve. And using our cultural decoding tools, we had arrived at 4 guiding principles for developing stronger feminine identities, just to help to give some shape and form to what we're talking about. And of course, to bring this to life, we're going to talk you through using some inspiring examples. And they're not just inspiring women, but also inspiring men, with whom to us really embody these feminine identities. First, we have, well, for me, she is my female of the year and possibly of the decade, Jacinda Arden, the Prime Minister of New Zealand. And she really, really embodies the spirit of less egocentric and more empathetic. So in the old normal, there is this tendency to serve the self, serve oneself, and disregard those around us. But in the new normal, what we see to move forward is to use empathy, to listen to others in order to serve a cause. And as we all know, and have all read about, you know, Jacinda Arden, she was instrumental. She was an instrumental example in showing how much positive change can happen when you steer a crisis with not just strength, but also with empathy. In her words, if we focus only on being seen to be the strongest, most powerful person in the room, then I think we lose what we're meant to be here for. We need our leaders to be able to empathize with the circumstances of others, to empathize with the next generation that we're making decisions on behalf of. The next example is Paul Poman, who is the former CEO of Unilever and now a trailblazing advocate of the Sustainable Development Goals. So he, for us, embodies this drive to be less competing and more collaborating. He chooses to build bridges among people to serve a collective well-being, when the old normal is to compete and use one's own individual strength to win. Now, Paul has worked tirelessly to bring people together, to get them to work together for the betterment of people and planet. And he took this as far as putting this mission at the heart of every brand under his care when he was at Unilever. And now, in his new role, the message he brings is that partnerships are vital to combat inequality and climate change. In his words, if we don't find a way to live in harmony with our fellow citizens, it's not going to work. We don't need more PhDs. We don't need people to go to Mars. What we need is human willpower. There comes a time when humanity is called to shift to another level of consciousness. The time to act is now. Next, we have Yasmin Lari, who is Pakistan's first female architect. And what's beautiful about her is that she gave up a whole long career of being a starchitect and instead chose to be a barefoot humanitarian architect for the poor. She embodies for us the spirit of less reactiveness and more long-term inventiveness. There is a tendency in the old way and old normal of doing things to focus on short-term solutions, short-term gains, instant gratification, because that's just easier wins. She embodies the new normal, which is to act in the present towards the vision of a better future. What Yasmin did after an earthquake left many homeless in her country. She designed huts that could be built by the poor with their bare hands, with just mud, wood, and stone. In her words, the aid mindset is to think of everyone as helpless victims who need things done for them. But we have to help people do things for themselves. Sometimes, and something people have helped to make is much more valued than something simply given. And for our fourth example, we have picked Art Acevedo. Some of you might find him familiar because he went viral not so long ago. He, for us, embodies the spirit of less dominating and more enabling. He delivers this strong example that in the old way, which is a tendency to impose your way through use of power and authority, the new better way is to use leadership to unlock the potential of the people you serve. During an interview with Christian Amanpour on CNN, this was his words in response to Trump. It's not about dominating. It's about winning hearts and minds. Let's be clear. We don't want people to confuse kindness with weakness. I ask people to join in with the police, stand together. Let's shift this to where it needs to be. We can dismantle hate with love. Let's exercise our right to vote. So we have seen societal leaders, business leaders, professionals bravely embody feminine values. And to be honest, I'm sure many of us in the room as well know of loved ones, of friends and colleagues who also live and embody these values. Feminine values have now gone from just being in the background or being stuck in the confines of the home to now being on the stage and now holding the front line and making a positive difference. And this is where we believe when brands represent their people, they can truly demonstrate their value and accelerate change. And with that, I'll pass my virtual microphone over to Silla.
Thank you, Rachel. So everyone, before we actually dove more into inspiration of what are the feminine values, understanding them, and also going through some examples, the part that I'm going to take you through is very much about the action. So we can, just to have a very quick exercise, take a deep breath just one time, deep breath in. And because we are now moving towards the actions. If I was a brand or I was an organization or a business, what are the steps that I need to take to make that happen? So these are the 3 steps that we have identified together to actually harness the stronger feminine identities. The first step, you remember the first slide that Aurelia was taking you through, right? There are 2 sets of values, the value that is more feminine or seen to be more masculine. So first step is to identify what is that feminine identity, of course, as a base of the feminine value, that people want to stand for, that people need to connect to. Take Johnson & Johnson, J&J, they stand for caring for those who care. And with caring for those who care, this becomes their identity as a company, as an organization, and also as a brand. So care at the center of their action. The second step is about enabling that identity to come to life. So once we define that identity, that this identity people will need to relate with, they need to operate with that identity on a daily basis, because with that people feel better, people feel accepted, people progress. Then actually we need to build upon it, and we need to actually make a roadmap of action to bring that to life. So I'll take you through an example in a bit, and we move to step number 3, where this is finally is about bringing people together. We need to gather and make this bigger, because if it's a small action in some community somewhere, it may be meaningful, but then again, it does not really address what we said in the beginning. It's going to be an exception and not the norm. We want feminine values to live more as the norm and not the exception. And the more people embrace it, the more it will become norms. And this is very key in bringing people together, in gathering ecosystem to support and to bring this to a stronger collective action. So I'll take you through a very famous company, actually, the next slide. We already got, warmed up with the previous CEO Paul Pullman. Unilever is probably one of the best examples on on the planet, how they bring together very strong feminine identity. They have understood that a true business success is not just happen because of the profit. The true business success happens when they bring progress to society, but also they care for the planet. So in that point of the step one, they have identified that care is extremely important, and progress is actually key in your business success. And from there, they are very clear in actually ensuring that every brand under the umbrella of Unilever has a very clear action, either to support society or to actually support the planet. Take Dove is not only selling soap, is not only saying that young girls need to feel good about how they look, how they are born, but also having a self-esteem institute to teach, to spread words, to have action that every day a girl or one girl every day has to feel better or have to feel good when they wake up and look at themselves in the mirror. So it's a beautiful action that the company has understood, and that actually has been brought to various brands under their umbrella. And then the third step is very much gather. As we know, they have become, one of the strongest initiator of making business is not enough when you have great profit, but business needs to bring progress to society or to care for the planet. They have set that standard, and today more businesses feel proud when they do this, and care, progress becomes center, and then this is becoming the new normal when we actually run businesses.
Little celebratory, everybody put your hands in the air, right? And then say, let's get feminine.
Let's get feminine. It's definitely clubbing time on your side.
We can do a bit of this. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming.